Procrastination is a normal part of every human's life because we are emotional creatures. However, if we let that take over, we're not going to end up doing the things that will actually allow us to respect ourselves and for other people to respect us. Procrastination really just means I don't know how to get that thing done, or I'm too lazy to get that thing done. And most of the time, the way to solve that really comes down to fixing why you are working on something in the first place. Our why needs to be pretty damn strong in life. And that is the prime reason why many of us are not committed to the things that some of us are like, oh, this is my life journey, this is my passion, this is the thing that I love to do. Other people are like, I have no idea what I like to do, so I just show up to work, I go to sleep, I get high, I do whatever I need to do, right? The why is the strongest thing that you need to figure out in your life. Know thyself. And that will help solve the first couple steps in trying to avoid procrastination. Now, the why that I tried to figure out in my life was stemmed from when I was 8 years old or younger. It was pretty simple. Take a look at the things that I liked doing when I was that young, because my personality was as pure as it could be. Whenever I got into a flow state, things that allowed me to forget eating, things that allowed me to forget sleeping, things that allowed me to forget my homework assignments, chances are those are things that I still want to do in my life as I grow up. The things that we need to figure out when it comes to our passion is, first of all, what is the overarching thing? If we like playing with action figures, how do we play with action figures? If we like playing video games, which types of video games do we play? If we like to go out and hang out with friends, how do we like to hang out with them? When we start niching that stuff down, we start realizing, oh wow, these things show up in a lot of different places in my life. There's a very good chance that that's part of your why. When we start figuring that out, that is the emotion behind what we are trying to do. Now comes the part of actually figuring out factually, objectively, what needs to be done. And the greatest piece of advice that I got on procrastination was, listen, the more you procrastinate, the more stressed out you're going to be. And at the end of the day, if you don't understand that concept, please, for 1 week, try not to do the things that you were told to do or instructed to do from your bosses or from your spouse or from your parents or from your siblings. Try 1 week. Just imagine the amount of stress you will have by not doing the laundry, by not doing the dishes, by not going to work, by not submitting that assignment, by not submitting your taxes, right? 1 week later, 2 days later, 3 days later, you're gonna have that compounded feeling on top of you. Greatest piece of advice was, whenever I find something that I need to do, I get that shit done ASAP. Now, that's a muscle to train. That's a disciplined muscle to train. And it's something that you do slowly. So for instance, when I get a text message, in the past, I used to say, I'll blow it off, whatever. If it's a text message that I know that I can answer right then and there, then it's very, very important for me to get that out of the way so then I don't have to worry about that later on. Now, I also have a system built in that every morning, I go through my communications consistently. If I can make sure to have a dedicated time to where I get a specific task done, the potential of me procrastinating that is very, very low. So what I've realized also is organization actually hinders our ability to procrastinate. Because when we give ourselves that time, that space in our calendar, in our days, to actually get a specific range of tasks done, or even niche it down further and get specific tasks done, then we have so much more time, so much more availability to actually enjoy our lives. And the funny thing about procrastination in general is just that. If we keep putting off those things that we can get done today, if we continue to imagine that our time, we have to make the decisions minute to minute, every 15 minutes, every half an hour, if we force ourselves to make those decisions, we slow down the amount that we can get done. We slow down the amount that we can execute. We slow down the amount that we think. And so it's very, very important, and I'm realizing this being a CEO, being a influencer, doing a bunch of other stuff in my life, the more structured that you can get with your time, the less you will procrastinate. Because you will have to just do the shit rather than think about doing the shit. You understand what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. And hopefully you realize that it's really not that far away from where you're at right now. Now, if you're a habitual procrastinator, right, the first thing to solve is obviously the why. Why do you want to become a more disciplined person? What does that person look like? How is that useful? When you decide that there are some reasons that you want to become more disciplined, how can you organize your schedule so that it is very, very likely that you get the very bare bones basics things done consistently? On top of that, how can you surround yourself by people or with people that actually don't procrastinate, right? That's a certain sect of society. And that's my last point that I'm going to go into here, is how important it is to surround yourself with go-getters. How important it is to take advice from people that don't procrastinate. Do not take advice from people that you don't want to be like. It's really not worth your time. And at the end of the day, that means that if someone's really good at finance but is a shit husband, do you want to take that person's advice all the time? I don't know. Do you want to be like that person? Maybe financially, but perhaps their philosophy is also invading into their personal life. It becomes very nuanced. It's very important. But the reality is, if we don't have an environment around us that is conducive to us taking action quickly and actually moving forward and actually being responsible for taking that action, we're never going to get to a point where we're doing that consistently. I was watching an anime actually the other day, and this guy, he got this sword, right? And the sword is so powerful that this guy is currently not able to use that sword, right? So he says, the sword master says, "Are you sure you want this sword?" And the guy's like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Well, why would you want this sword?" He's like, "I want to become stronger." Right? So he's creating an environment for himself that's going to force himself to become a certain type of way. So that's one of the greatest life hacks that you can ever get into. Stop surrounding yourself with lazy people, and you'll stop procrastinating. Hopefully this helps. If it did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe for more of this stuff in your feed. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself.